and welcome to the Euro Wars History channel. This is a new channel that's going to be launching in February 2018. I'm very excited about it. I've always wanted to do this sort of channel. I sort of stumbled into the Euro Wars, as you know me, political commentator, you know, day-to-day stuff, what's going on in and around Europe and around the world. But this is a journey back in time that affects us today, believe it or not. But a journey into the past. Now, my expertise lie around from the First World War to the Cold War. So I know my stuff. I was going to go to university to be a history teacher, but I just never made it. That was always my dream. So I suppose the next best thing would be just to get out there and show the history. And I've just recently come back from a trip to Poland. As any Euro Wars fans would know, I was at Independence Day. And the history of the country is unique. It really is a unique place, and it has to be visited. It's so unique that I've decided to launch my history channel, and there isn't a better country in the world to kick it off than Poland. It has so much history there. A lot of it's sad history, a lot of it grim history, but also uplifting history. Of course, their independence from Nazi and communist Bolshevik occupation. There's loads of stories to be told. I'm literally just looking at a map of Europe as we speak. I'm looking at an oldish map now, but as you can see, looking at a map of Poland, and just mapping out my journey. So, hang on a sec, guys. So, I'll be flying in to Krakow. Now, in Krakow we have Schindler's factory and Auschwitz somewhere around down here. I didn't realise that Dresden was quite so close to the Polish border. It's very close, so who knows, I could even end up bringing in a Euro Wars show on a Pegida march there, who knows yet. But let's keep it real, let's keep it to the history. So flying into the south to Krakow, Schindler's factory, Auschwitz, and then really I should have started in the north, right? But I'll be then heading north to Warsaw, and anything in and around Warsaw. I do have friends in Warsaw as well that I could maybe go and say hello to. I have been told about a very special place in Gdansk, which was the first ever concentration camp that the Nazis set up. Now, I've never seen a documentary on that, ever. So that is a must for me. I must go and find out and look around the place. It looks massive. I have a look online. And of course, if we go up to the northeast of Poland, I'm not quite 100% sure where it is, but the Wolf's Lair is somewhere around here. And of course, if you know your history, you'll know that that was the Germans' eastern headquarters for the Russian campaign. It was, you know, Hitler had his Führer bunker there. Valkyrie von Stauffenberg's attempted assassination of Hitler. Hermann Goering, as his bunker is still intact, and from an aerial view, it looks like a spaceship, basically. And you can climb up the top. I'll be going in February. It'll be freezing cold. Everyone's going, oh, you're going in February, it's going to be so cold. Good. A little bit of realism there, instead of the nice summer. A little bit of realism. It just gives you a little taste of what people actually had to go through, especially in the camps. And they lived the life of luxury, I would have thought, in the Wolf's Lair. But what a fascinating place to visit. And I've always wanted to go there. And I've heard if you stay on site, you can literally wander around the site. And you just get a map and go. I'm not sure about the filming in Auschwitz. I have applied, but I do know a lady who I'm speaking to on Twitter at the moment. Who knows? Things could happen. Hopefully, I'll be allowed to make some sort of film of Auschwitz. Otherwise, I'll just make it outside the front gates, and I'll film in when I can. I think these are, whatever you think of the Jewish people, there's a lot of haters out there, the Jews. I think personally, I've never been anti-Semitic at all, and so this is not a problem for me. So if there's any neo-Nazis or right-wing loons out there, just switch off now, because I'm not interested. And that is not my narrative of bigging up the Nazis and putting down the Jews. The narrative is history. And that's it. And the Second World War. And showing what really happened. Okay? I'm not going into numbers and figures and all that. I might do in Gdansk, the camp there. That's a very interesting place. But as for Auschwitz and the number murdered there and all that, I won't be going into all that. So don't worry about that. But I've always been fascinated with Oskar Schindler's story. I've always been fascinated with his factory that he had. And what a fantastic place. I was going to go for 1 week, but I think I might have to stretch it to 2. In the Wolf's Lair, you can actually stay on site. And the hotel is a former barracks of Hitler's personal bodyguard. What a place to be staying in, eh? Bit creepy, but it's really cheap. It's about £10 or £15 a night in English money, and you get breakfast included. And there's a lovely little town just down the road, which do very affordable accommodation, especially in February, because it's out of season, and that's the sort of thing I like to do. I like to go out of season. When it's a bit colder and go and check these places out. I'm flying out on the 19th. I feel like I'm flying into the wrong place first though, but to be honest, where I go back to in the UK, it is easier to fly from Krakow than Warsaw. Warsaw only flies to certain airports in the UK that are really difficult for me to get home to. It means I've got to go through London, which I hate. And if I can avoid London, I will, at all costs. But sometimes it's necessary. Of course, looking at this map here, looking at this map again, let's have another look. Now, we have Krakow. If we go along until Warsaw. I'm sorry, terrible pronunciations. But look how it really isn't that far from Dresden. And look, Prague is not far away either. And of course, in Prague they have Theresienstadt, which I never forget seeing a magnificent documentary on Theresienstadt, a very sad documentary about I forget his name now. Kurt someone. Let me try and think. Geron. Cheated. Kurt Geron. Now, Kurt Geron was an interesting character. He was obviously Jewish German, and I'm pretty sure he fought in the First World War. I'm not 100% sure about that one. I'm pretty sure he did. And he came home. I found it's a fantastic story. Check the documentary out. It's called Prisoner of Paradise. It's really interesting. And basically, he turned into a superstar in the 20s and 30s in Germany. He was he's in The Blue Angel with Marlene Dietrich. Have you ever heard of that movie? Very famous movie from the 1930s. He was killed in Auschwitz in the end, but his story in Theresienstadt is just something else. Fascinating. The Soviets, after the Second World War, I think they used it as a military barracks, but it looks like a very eerie place.